In this demonstration you will learn how to extract the header of the customer's application into a user control. Let's switch to Visual Studio. Here I've opened the main window SAML file of the customer's application. Now let's scroll down in this file, and here you can see the grid that defines the header of the main window. In this clip, let's extract this SAML code into a user control. So let's go to the Solution Explorer and let's right-click the project. From the context menu, I select Add New Folder. Let's call the new folder Controls. Now let's right-click this folder and let's select from the context menu Add, and you can select here User Control. This brings up the new item dialog, and you can see User Control is already selected. On the left side, you can also select WPF, and then you see the WPF items that you can add to your project. Let's keep here User Control selected, and let's call the user control Header Control. Now let's add this to the project. As you can see, like the main window, the user control consists of a SAML file and a corresponding code behind file. In the SAML file, you have the user control element that contains a grid, and in the code behind file, you have in this case the header control class that inherits from user control. Here you could define properties if you need them. Now let's go again to the main window SAML file, and now I just cut here this whole grid for the header from this file. Now let's go to the header control SAML file, and let's replace here this grid with a grid that I just cut from the main window SAML file. On this grid here, you don't have to set grid row and grid column span. You have to set that on the header control that you will include in the main window SAML file. So I cut these two properties from here. Now let's go again to the main window SAML file. Here, where the header was, I write now header control. Now Visual Studio shows a light bulb there that you can open with a mouse click or by pressing Ctrl dot. As you can see, Visual Studio wants to add a so-called XML namespace for the .NET namespace Wired Brain Coffee Customers App Controls. This is the namespace that contains our header control. Let's hit enter to add this. Now you see the header control class is prefixed with controls. When you scroll up, you can see that Visual Studio added to the root element the XML namespace with the prefix controls. This XML namespace maps to the .NET namespace Wired Brain Coffee Customers App Controls. So when you use that prefix in the SAML file like here, you get the classes from that .NET namespace. You can also just write controls and you see then the header control pops up and you can use it. Now on that header control, let's set the attached properties grid.row to 1 and grid column span to 3 like we had it before. Now let's run the application and let's see if this works. Yes, as you can see, the header is displayed as before. But now you have refactored the code in the main window SAML file, and even this header comment is not needed anymore because it is obvious that this control here represents the header. In the next clips, let me show you how to extract the parts for the customers into a user control.